How's it going? Welcome to episode 1841, 1841. We've got a great show for you today. We've got the author of Bitcoin Clarity who's going to be on with us, and she's going to be talking about this important topic. So, gosh, let me see. I've got a visual for you on this. Okay, there we go. There's our Bitcoin and our clarity. Anyway, hey, look, whether you're into cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin or not, does not matter. This is an important topic. You've got to be versed in this. And we're going to help try and clear it up for you a bit. We're going to talk about some technical stuff and just help people get an understanding of what Bitcoin is, how it works. And I think this will be very valuable, even if you're not interested in Bitcoin. Now, you may know, if you followed my work for any length of time, and you can check me on this, you can check from my episodes 9-10 years ago when I first discovered Bitcoin. And I remember I was talking with some guy, we were on a beach, and he was telling a couple of us about Bitcoin. And we thought, what the heck is this thing? What are you talking about? Well, the price back then was $74. And if it keeps dropping like it has been lately, it might be $74 again. Well, we'll see. But my position on Bitcoin and on the whole topic of cryptocurrency, which, by the way, my friend Brad Mills, big influencer in the space, does not want me to call Bitcoin a cryptocurrency because he says, and I agree with him, that it is in a class by itself, and same with our client, Keith Gibson, who's been on the show as well, another Bitcoin expert. But look, here's my position. It has never changed. My position is the same as it was when I first heard about this stuff. And I host another podcast where we take deep dives into this topic. It's called the CryptoCast. Maybe some of you listen to it. And for a while, I thought I was actually thinking about changing the name of that podcast. Now, this is not an episode. It's a whole podcast. It's a whole series of episodes, just like the Creating Wealth show or any of my other shows. And I was going to call it the Anti-CryptoCast because my concern here, and I want to be wrong about this. I really want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I love being wrong sometimes, not usually. I like to be right, but sometimes I want to be wrong, and this is one of those times where I really want to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and that is that I am worried that the two most powerful forces the human race has ever known, governments and central banks. I mean, after God, all you have is governments and central banks, the two most powerful forces ever, right? And God is, of course, a supernatural force. So they will find a way to interfere, to defeat, to squash Bitcoin and the other, which are totally a separate category, the other cryptocurrencies. Okay? Bitcoin is unique unto itself. It's in a class by itself. There's nothing else that comes close. So, with that fear being noted, that they will make it illegal, they will do something to interfere, they will engineer a crisis or be complicit in a crisis. 9/11, anybody? Or, oh God, I didn't say that. You can't say that stuff on the air anymore. Or they will actually engineer a crisis, a false flag, so that they can protect us, because they got to protect us, right? It's for our own safety. Yeah, right. It's for our own protection. And they will find a reason to just put the kibosh on the world of alternative currencies. But I would love nothing more than to see a decentralized currency of the people, so to speak, succeed wildly. I think it would be a wonderful thing. I just don't know that it is going to happen that way. Even though that's what I want and that's what many others want, I'm afraid that we may not get that because these very powerful forces are enemies of this idea. Remember, the main product of any government and any central bank anywhere on planet Earth, their main product is their currency. And they don't like competition. They don't like competition for their currency. They want the dollar to be the number one thing. They want the yen to be the number one thing. They want the euro to be the big thing. They want the peso to be the big thing. Whatever it is, right? They want the ruble to be the big thing. Look what Putin's done now with this terrible, and by the way, I haven't talked about it lately, the invasion of Ukraine. It's just heartbreaking as that tragedy unfolds and continues. But it's also scary to see what, the way the world has reacted to it in some ways. And what I mean by that is I don't disagree with them. I agree that Russia should be sanctioned, but the way they have weaponized the dollar and other currencies, it's pretty scary because they don't seem to care much about rule of law. Listen, I'm no fan of Russian oligarchs and, mafioso style oligarch criminals. However, to just start taking their stuff without any due process is really scary, because you got to remember something, that whenever there is an attack on liberty, even if it's the right thing to do, like morally, or just because we're outraged, you could be next. You could be next, right? So when anybody else is attacked, another person, another class of people, just remember that even if you agree with the attack on them and you're outraged by what they did, and you gotta make them pay, right? You want to make them pay. Just remember that same justification could be used against you, your company, your family, right? Your country. So be careful where that leads. It's a dangerous thought process. That's all I want to say about it. Okay, so we'll have our Bitcoin Clarity author here in a moment, but I want to share with you a couple things as usual. Now, this is a chart that I presented in 2 of my speeches last week when I was in Dallas. And it is the mortgage payment as a percentage of disposable income. So when you look at a household and you look at their after-tax income and you think, gosh, is this mortgage debt burdensome on them? Is it really, really bad? Is that going to lead to a foreclosure problem where people are just going to walk away from their houses like many, many millions did during the Great Recession? And I think rightfully so. I think a lot of them made very good decisions walking away. I endorsed that idea because, it is the right thing to do sometimes. That my mind changed during the Great Recession when I had that guest on my show who talked about it, an attorney who was the founder of a website called You Walk Away, right? And I think that decision was a sensible decision, and many times. But what's the likelihood of that happening again? It's pretty darn low, folks. If you're waiting for a foreclosure crisis, don't hold your breath. If you're waiting for a housing crash, don't hold your breath, because it's not coming quickly. It will come. At some point, it will come. There's always a cycle in the market. The market always has its ups and downs. No question about it. There will be a point where the housing bubble pops. The question is, how big is the bubble right now? Or is there a bubble at all? I would agree that there is a bubble and it's been blowing up, but I think it's got quite a ways to go before it's going to pop. Here's one other reason why. I've shared many. You've looked at the Hartman Comparison Index, my index that I created, the HCI, the Hartman Comparison Index, to help you understand the value of real estate when you compare it to a whole bunch of other things. But let's look at just the mortgage payment. How burdensome is that on people? Well, according to this chart, not so much. Not much. It's pretty comfortable, actually. Now, if you look at the chart, this one goes back to 2014, okay? And it shows, for those of you listening on audio, that the mortgage payment burden was, according to the chart, it's about twice as high as it is now, back then, right? It's much lower now. Actually, I don't want to be wrong about that. I want to be accurate in what I tell you. I don't know if I want to say it's twice as high, because I don't know if this is a logarithmic scale or not. And for those of you statisticians out there, the way they lie with statistics on these charts, okay? So anyway, I don't know that. But look, the point is This index, right, this percentage that they use here on the Fed website, the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, right, is at a 4.5 in 2014. And today it is dramatically lower, okay? It's maybe, what is that going to be, a 3 point, just a little over 3.8, okay? So that burden is much lower today than it was back in 2014 or at any time until the COVID 1984 crisis hit, okay? When we had the pandemic hit, we saw that burden decline dramatically at the point where interest rates went to their 5,000-year low. Yes, you heard me right. 5,000-year low, cheapest interest rates in 5,000 years. Yep, that's right. And when they did that, this got incredibly inexpensive. It got incredibly inexpensive. Where you saw this mortgage payment dip to super low amounts. And it's been rising ever since that trough, okay? And it's a little higher now for sure. But historically, that burden of the mortgage payment is extremely low. So don't hold your breath for a foreclosure crisis and a housing crash for this reason. Also note, as I've told you before, that 40% of all the homes in the US are paid off. They're free and clear. Obviously, they have not heard my teachings on inflation-induced debt destruction. Shame on them. But whatever. The point is, people who have no mortgage usually find it pretty difficult to go into foreclosure or to have fire sales on their houses. And why is the foreclosure thing important? Well, because that makes the market potentially have a downward spiral, right? There's just not any significant distress in the system, folks. Show me the distress. Inventory is rising a little bit, but it's got a long way to go. A long way to go. And we will continue to report on it. We got to see inventory rise a whole heck of a lot before it's time to get concerned. The housing market is still en fuego in most places. One of them is Jacksonville, Florida, where you should come and join us for our wholesale workshop in Jacksonville. I'm going to put this on the screen for those of you watching. It's scrolling across the bottom, but let's make it nice and big so you can see it easy. And that is jasonhartman.com/wholesale. That's jasonhartman.com/wholesale. If you want to get really good deals on properties, I mean, not the easy turnkey deals, you can buy these for yourself, or you can turn it into a business opportunity where you're just coming in with literally no money, tying a house up, a distressed house with a motivated seller. We're going to teach you our motivation stacking strategy, where you stack up these motivations of these sellers, you find them, you contact them, you get an assignable contract, and then you assign it over to usually an investor buyer, a waiting pool of investor buyers. And guess who has thousands of those? Yes, yours truly. So we can make it very easy to help you exit these properties and take a nice big fat fee. Okay, it's just really a great thing. Now, this is a more active approach to real estate. It's not the passive thing. Look, if you've got a 60, 80 hour a week career and you're too busy, this is probably not the thing for you. But I'll tell you who it's for. Some people who have that time constraint, they're teaching their kids how to do it and just giving their kids a push, a head start in learning how to wholesale properties, because the kids have time, right? You don't have time, but the kids have time. And, this could really be their future business. I mean, I know several people who've done this with their children. Okay. It's a great thing. So you're going to learn small builder secrets, how to pinpoint inventory in any city in the country or any place in the country, and even internationally. If you want to do this internationally, there are some countries where you can do it internationally. Remote market deal getting tactics, virtual wholesaling doesn't need to be local at all. how to do faraway fix and flips, how to tap into private money networks to get financing for your deals if you want to buy them. But if you don't want to buy them and you just want to wholesale them, boom, you're just in, you get out, you get paid. I mean, it's just a great thing. So jasonhartman.com/wholesale for more on that. Join us in Jacksonville, Florida. And that is just, well, gosh, it's less than a week and a half from now. So we just had one sign up today, just got the tickets, got a reasonable deal on the airfare, and come out and meet us in Jacksonville. It's going to be a great time. And also, besides spending 3 days with yours truly, you know who else is going to be there? Someone you like even more than me. Many of you have met her. She's been on the show, and that is my mom. She's even coming to this. She's really excited about it because she wants to learn how to do wholesale deals. And even at her age, I mean, she's super active. She's out there buying properties, doing 1031 exchanges. You heard her on the show not too long ago talking about that. And if she hears me say, even at her age, she's probably going to kill me. So anyway, but look, my mom is a little older than me. So there you go. Just by a small margin. There you go. So she'll be there as well. So we're going to spend 3 days together. We're going to have some lunches, some dinners together. It's going to be a great time. We've got a really nice venue, inexpensive. We've got hotel rooms for just $159 each, free parking, and it's going to be a great time in Jacksonville. So go to jasonhartman.com/wholesale, get signed up. If you have questions, reach out to your investment counselor. They'll be glad to help you. But here's the thing. Now, you're not seeing this if you're listening only on the audio, but if you're watching this, you see that I've got a rear view mirror on the screen. The Canadian trucker rear view mirror here. Freedom is closer than it appears. And that's maybe a double entendre here, right? Because every deal looks like a good deal in the rear view mirror. So for those who are thinking the market is peaked out, and they're wrong, the market has a ways to go still. It's not going to go forever. There will be a change at some point for sure. There will be a correction. There always is. But once you get past that, in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, you're going to look back and think any property you acquired today was a smoking great deal. Just a phenomenal deal. Because every deal in the real estate world looks good in the rear view mirror. It does. It's a game of staying power. If you stay in the game, you're going to win. That's historically proven over and over and over and over and over and over. I guess I should stop saying over again. Okay. It's been proven so many times, it's not even funny, right? So income property, the most historically proven asset class in the entire world, the most tax favored asset class in America. And if you want to really learn to get the more active approach in real estate, come join us for our small group mentoring, our wholesaling event in Jacksonville. And you go to jasonhartman.com/wholesale for that. And without further ado, let's get to our guest and let's change topics. Let's talk about Bitcoin clarity. Here we go.